Greetings viewers to Kerrex Reviews. Now, just the other day I decided to shuffle a few some of my VHS tapes and I somehow managed to stumble on this particular one labeled Dinosaur/History. So I decided to check it out and see what was buried underneath the shelf all this time, and turns out I found this little film called Adventures in Dinosaur City.
Adventures in Dinosaur City!
This little direct-to-video movie from the early 90s is pretty much what you'd expect from a bargain bin live-action Ninja Turtles knockoff. They even say so in the trailer.
Way before there were turtles.
Then I noticed that a user named JohnTron brought it up once during his Dino City Bro review, and I figured maybe it's time someone tackled this thing. So let's see how this old fossil stacks up. This is Adventures in Dinosaur City. So we start things off with this series of kindergartner drawings of what I can assume is a kindergartner's view of prehistoric times were like. But the really sad part is that you know this wasn't really done by kindergartners. This was clearly made by adults. The art is basically 2 or 3 notches above the artwork in fucking Sonichu. So after that eyesore of an opening, we cut to our 3 protagonists sitting down reading a dinosaur story. And we're given character establishment. I'm the obnoxious one. I'm the bland, uninteresting one. Hey look, she's wearing glasses, therefore she must be a loser because she's wearing glasses. Loser, glasses, loser, glasses. You get the idea.
Arachnophobia alert! Spiders where? Timmy, you brat! Made you lost. Let's see what else is in here.
In the next scene, we meet Obnoxious and Shade's parents as they're testing out their shrink rate, their NCOM transport, their time portal. We then cut back to our trio as they're sitting down to watch their favorite TV show opening, a knockoff combination of every popular prehistoric TV show the writers could sneak their lawyers around, where we also give establishing shots for the trio of heroes we'll be encountering later on. After watching the TV show opening and literally nothing else,
Fruits! There goes the end theme. This program is too short, I tell you.
we cut back to the parents as they head off to some science convention because they have to be removed from the story in order to kickstart the plot. They get ready to leave and establish the rules for the kids to follow.
Okay, you have the hotel number, you have your father's beeper number.
Yeah.
Anything else? Dial 911.
Your mother and I are putting a lot of trust in you here, son.
Considering the type of movie this is, we all pretty much know these rules are going to be broken. Otherwise, we wouldn't really have much of a plot.
Okay?
Okay, Dad.
You can stay here, or you can stay at Dick's.
Mix.
Right.
Oh, looks like someone's trapped in the closet.
Don't do it alone.
They say he shouldn't be watching cartoons at his age.
Watch cartoons all day, okay?
What's wrong with watching cartoons?
Wait, your mother's right, Tim. A boy your age should be out splitting atoms, whatever it is boys do.
Ah, Christ, do we really need a repeat of this?
That's it! You have an overactive imagination. It is time to grow up.
So after the parents leave the picture, they waste absolutely no time in breaking the rules, as they said in the early 90s, in order to watch their lawyer-friendly Bedrock Fighters show opening credits.
Check it out. Ultra source of television.
Yeah, cool, huh?
Oh, that's nothing, buddy. Wait until they make them into rectangles. So as they start building up the inevitable conclusion of setting themselves up for disaster, as they're standing right in front of the fucking transporter.
Can't wait for the sequel.
And just on cue, they are sent off into the realm of the TV set. I have control of your TV set. Are you receiving me? So they end up in the prehistoric setting as we see that the production values are not that much better in live action.
That was no mistake.
It's here they stumble across Forey, one of the characters we saw in the cartoon's intro.
4E and we're in Dinosaur. Except it's like 3D now.
I thought you needed special glasses or something for 3D.
Well, it's certainly a lot better 3D than The Last Airbender, that's for sure. He assumes they're part of a group called the Rockies.
I know you apes gotta be Rocky's spies, and it won't do you any good to try and get it out of me.
Who are revealed to be a cult of cavemen who seem to be a mix of stereotypes of New Yorkers and Southerners.
My! Such hostility.
Don't hurt him. I mean, he is kind of cute.
We are then given the forced exposition that removing the fuse in the cooling tanks in 24 hours will destroy Soar City, which is the name of the city apparently.
Wait, if you take that, the cooling units on the lava tanks won't work, and we'll be looking at a complete meltdown of Source City in less than 24 hours.
Ain't you an Einstein?
That's the idea, bird brain.
See you later, darling.
I'll be back.
Wow.
Okay, I think this movie's in the category we like to call schizo cinema. What does schizo cinema mean? Well, essentially, it's a term for movies that have absolutely no idea what kind of identity it wants to be. Is it a kid's movie? Is it a horror story? Is it a skin flick? It won't tell us. It's in the same category as films such as Little Monsters and Disney's The Black Hole. 4E then tries to sneak the kids past the Rocky Guard, and then they notice they already went through the door, realizing the portal that sent them there has already closed.
Fatal mistakes for 1,000, Jamie.
I'll take Michelangelo for 100, Alex. Good choice.
The trio start providing a little bit more exposition about the genre softiness of the show and that they are in control.
Come on, you always hated the Rockies. Well, this is your big chance. To do what?
Get my intestines wrapped around a tree by some Neanderthal?
Not in a PG rating, you're not.
We're in control. Let's have some fun before we go back to Dollsville. Jamie, you want to meet Rex? We know he's going to stomp the Rockies. We know he's in Tartown. Let's go get him!
Total meltdown.
It just seems like regular Discovery Channel footage of volcanic activity to me. No big deal. They stumble upon 4E, who they then try to befriend by saying they can teach him how to fly again.
No, it's all in your head. We'll help you learn again if you come with us.
And he is, of course, resistant.
In here without an explanation. You insult me, and by the way, who are you?
They notice the documentary footage of volcanic activity, and with the ignorance of how volcanoes work, they are slightly freaked.
What's happening?
We know this not by how they're expressing their emotions, since that would require acting skills, but because they flat out tell us.
Scary. I'm scared.
I want to go home.
They then try to use their genre savviness to describe events that should have already happened.
In the cartoon, you're the one who goes to Tartown to get Rex, to stomp the Rockies and save Soar City.
Yeah, right.
But apparently they haven't yet.
Sure, Tartown, tail pit of the world. There's no way to get there since the Rockies took over the train.
Then was this meant to be an older episode of the show? Then how did they get here from the latest episode on VHS tape? Shouldn't they have gotten them to that point instead?
Wait a minute, look at this. Why can't we go this way?
No way, doll. Extinction Grove.
It's like a graveyard.
Time out. Graveyard? Wait, let me think. No, I don't remember there ever being a graveyard in the cartoon.
Must be an episode we haven't seen yet.
And how could they not know about the graveyard episode? Was it so controversial that it was banned from broadcast?
In a millennium. Once they go in, no reptile is ever left alive. Dead dinosaurs tell no tales.
Well, anyway, they decide to go on the quest to retrieve the fuse by going over to Tartown in order to search for Rex and Tops, the other two characters from the intro.
You're coming with us, whether you like it or not.
Hey, what are you doing? Can't we talk this over, guys? I mean, great.
We cut over to inside the tower of Mr. Big. No, not that Mr. Big, who seems to be this hooded figure who's trying way too hard to be Emperor Palpatine.
Take it away. Come on.
Our heroes then have to get across the gate of Extinction Grove, which is probably the most uneventful 5 minutes of the entire movie. Yes, 5 minutes pass during this whole sequence and consists of nothing happening.
I warned you guys.
I wonder why this was never in the cartoon.
It's too scary for kids.
Yeah, well, so far, nothing in this scene warrants being banned from television. Of course, the movie realizes that we need to have some form of tension in this scene, so they decide to make Blandy here practically throw himself into the pool below the set, into the swamp lake, where Obnoxious starts breaking his legs, giving the illusion of a sea monster. They finally get him out of the water when suddenly the theme park mascot shows up. They manage to get past the graveyard and make it to Tar Town, and the film decides here to add some subtle ship teasing.
You know, your hair looks kind of cool that way.
You guys are crazy.
Once inside the bar, we come across a poker game featuring Rex and Tops and...
Action, big boy.
Why do I get the feeling there's a whole archive of this character buried somewhere underneath the interwebs? They decide to take a seat while the rejects for the Walk the Dinosaur music video start performing. And we see Blandy and Shades be taken dancing with these furries in training, while Obnoxious tries and fails at underage drinking, which then leads to even more hilarity as the dancing comes to an end. They finally catch up with Rex and Tops.
Rex!
Hey, where you going?
Hey, Tops!
As they try to convince them to help,
We need to touch Rex right away.
and they don't give a shit.
No, you. I hope not, because you guys are so pink it hurts to look at you.
Look, we're here on important business.
Now, you I know. The little bird that
Hey,
couldn't fly.
who are you calling a bird?
Talk money and I won't call you a bird.
Look, this concerns the fate of Source City.
Obnoxious starts talking exposition on an episode of the show,
You guys always help. Like, remember the time in episode 12 when the Rockies took over Primeval Park and they rousted Old Stead?
These guys are wacko.
which makes me question once again where in the show's timeline they were warped into, since they were playing the VHS tape that was supposed to be the latest episode. So shouldn't we be past this whole origin story bullshit they're clearly trying to pull? It's there and then that the Rockies show up and make trouble in the bar.
Now, I heard all the tyrannosaurs were dead, but I guess the real truth is they all turned into fossil feces. Like this.
And then a fight ensues. And in all the mayhem, Shades ends up losing her shades. Oh shit, now she won't be able to notice the finer details in things or read small print books. Oh, the minor inconvenience. Rex and Tops finally agree to join our heroes as they head off.